Yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel for a very, very special review of the Filipino entry into the 96 Academy Awards for International Feature Film, The Missing, directed by Carl Joseph E. Papa, starring Carlo Aquino, Gio Gaul, and Dali De Leon. This film is very, very interesting, and once again I'm going to say I am so happy I got the opportunity to view this film a bit early, as it hasn't come out in the States yet. But as I mentioned before, it is Philippines' entry into the international feature field for this upcoming Oscars, and there's so much that can be said about this film. Essentially, it follows a man named Eric as he traverses his job, his personal life, the death of a very close family member, you could say, and being abducted by aliens. So, yeah, it's a pretty crazy story on paper, and for most of this runtime, I was really frustrated because I wasn't quite sure where they were going with this whole angle. But by the end of the film, I was absolutely floored by this narrative, and also just the fact that this is in fact an animated film, and it uses a combination of traditional animation techniques and rotoscoping, which is pretty incredible considering this film was shot over a span of just 4 days and had 90 animators working on it for over a year, which I just find incredible because, to be quite honest with you, I have never seen a film quite like The Missing. This is such a singular and innovative vision that I think should be seen as a benchmark for animation in the 2020s. I mean, we've already got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which was my favorite animated film of the decade. But this might top it, honestly, because this is one of those stories that when it concludes, you feel like your questions are answered and resolved in such a way that's so profound and so profoundly beautiful, you could say, that I was just so incredibly flabbergasted and moved by this film. And the thing that is so incredible about it is how it uses surrealism, because I'm going to kind of use this to take a sec to compare this to another film I just saw for the first time, which is Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas by Terry Gilliam, and I guess this will kind of serve as my short little review of that film, which I really dug, and it's one crazy movie, obviously. And yet again, you know, it is very surreal. I feel like it was approached in a sense more like, okay, we're going to show you these very, you know, specific moments that really stand out, but as a narrative, the surrealism didn't really come together for me by the end, though I did really enjoy the film. But this is kind of incredible because a lot of the stuff that is happening, they're very individual moments, and while you're not sure if what is going on is actually real, you know it is real to the lead character of Eric, played by Carl Aquino in here, who is just one of the most heartbreaking protagonists I've seen in any movie. And you really feel for this guy. And yet again, it's like, it's so interesting because essentially he's mute, and the way he expresses what he's feeling, he writes on a white erase board to talk and communicate with people, and you really see the struggle. But the thing that's so interesting about the animation is his mouth is like removed, which I found to be very off-putting when I first started the movie. I was like, okay, like why does he not have a mouth? But as the film unfolds, you see all these very surreal moments come together in such a way that's so impactful, and literally everything clicks by the end of the story, like I mentioned before, and it is just such a rewarding experience. I cannot stress that enough, that I haven't been able to stop thinking about this movie since I watched it, and it's something that I think is just going to stick with me for a long time. And I think that has a lot to do with the character writing as well for Eric, but also all the other characters like Carlo, played by Gio Gao, who, oh my goodness, is one of the best characters, one of the best supporting characters I've seen in a movie in such a long time. He brings such an amazing sensitivity and understanding to this movie that I think elevates it to another level that probably couldn't have been obtained if it wasn't approached in the same way. And I absolutely love his work in this film. And also Dolly De Leon. It's great to see her back in a movie after Triangle of Sadness, and she plays Eric's mother, and yet again, she's really great every single second she's on screen. And how these characters come together is something truly beautiful. How their stories interweave into Eric's main quest to overcome, you could say, his own demons. It really is such a incredibly rich and unique story that hasn't really been done before. And also, speaking of the animation, there's also these animated segments. They kind of look like they're sketchbook drawings that would be a part of a children's book that you'd read to your kid or whatever. And what I love about it is Eric in the story, he's like a Photoshop artist to my understanding. He's doing something in the art realm and uses Photoshop pretty extensively. And these scenes kind of serve as flashbacks of a sort, but also playing the narrative in a way that elicits some sort of double meaning to the story. And it's narratively one of the most brilliant things I've seen. And it's so cool because when it starts out, you see like the background, kind of erased in certain parts, as well as in the main narrative, which I won't really get into because this movie, I literally can't even talk about it. Like, I don't even understand how to describe it. It's just one of those films that you have to see for yourself. But I love how they utilize the absence of space within a frame, quite literally, like you're removing the background on Photoshop, and as the story goes along, the full picture comes into view. And I really think that's such a great narrative choice, and a great through line throughout this entire film. I really think that this is one of the most powerful stories about trauma and in trying to learn how to cope with it. It really is just one of the most beautiful films the 20s has to offer so far, quite literally. And there's a couple of things that maybe I need a bit more clarification on if I watch the movie again. A couple things I wasn't sure about. Maybe there was like a couple of moments of animation that I felt looked a little janky. But these moments are so few and far between that honestly, it doesn't really affect my score too much. I'm going to give The Missing a 9.5 out of 10. Yet again, this is the best animated film I've seen all decade. And I think that this score could easily go up on rewatch. This is one of the absolute best films of, I don't know if it's coming out this year or next year. Well, obviously in the US it will be coming out next year at a certain point. Not sure of the release date yet, but maybe we can keep you updated on that. But this is easily going to make my top 10 of either year. If it gets into Best International Feature this year, I'm going to count it for 2023. If not, then next year it is. But I really hope this makes the shortlist, and I really hope that people see that and are incentivized to watch this amazing piece of work that you could really tell that these creators poured their souls into. It really comes off as a labor of love, a labor of acceptance, a labor of just human understanding. I really can't say much more about this film that is more complimentary than I've already said about it. But for any voters of the guilds voting on the International Feature Award, I urge you to check this out. You do not want to miss this. This is a singular piece of work to the likes we have yet to see in this decade, and I really hope it stands as a benchmark for animation going forward. We need more original stories like this. We need more uniquely crafted narratives like this one to really get the attention that they deserve, because this really, I think most people who will watch this movie will not be disappointed by it once they reach the ultimate conclusion that this film comes to. So yeah, guys, can't wait to hear what you think about The Missing when it does come out. I want to thank you guys again for allowing me access to see this film, because, you know, it's movies like this that remind me why I do this in the first place. And the fact that I was given this opportunity is something I'll truly be grateful for. And yeah, I cannot wait to see what everybody does next involved in this film. And yeah, can't wait to see more amazing films like this in the near future. So please have yourselves a good day, and I will talk to y'all later.